Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar number 7. And this is part of the IMIM webinar series. So today, the webinar topic is project management in times of globality, diversity, and uncertainty. And well, this webinar is going to be taught by Professor Rocío Rodríguez from the Polytechnical University of Madrid in Spain. So we are having this webinar series as part of the IMIM consortium, and UPM, which is Universidad Politécnica de Madrid in Spanish, is part of this university consortium. So the idea today is that after this webinar, you will learn about the challenges that we have today in joining project management with societal problems like uncertainty, diversity, cultural differences, globalization, and all the risk management involved in dealing with this. Okay, so our expert today, she's going to guide us through this journey so that we are able to apply it in not only in international projects, but also some things I suppose that it could be also applied to a personal level or a more macro level for sure, and especially to have this kind of food for our minds, right? Food for thoughts, so that we can keep thinking on these very relevant topics. So before we start, and while people keep joining, I want to give you the welcome from the Polytechnical University of Madrid, especially the School of Industrial Engineering, which is the school that is involved in the IMIM program. My name is Isaac Limus. I'm the IMIM coordinator at UPM. So I'm very happy to be hosting you as well here and moderating this session. So if you are new to the IMIM community, or maybe you, is any of you an alumni, or are you new to this community, or are you interested in studying the IMIM, just for as curiosity? Any of the audience?
I'm one of the alumni.
Oh, great, great, Sharifa. Which edition are you?
Imim 9.
Imim 9, great.
We've been together for class for my semester 3 class.
Oh,
you
really?
and the Russian guy.
Okay, yes. Yes.
With Amar, remember?
Yes, with Amar. So you're from Indonesia, right?
Malaysia.
Malaysia. Sorry. Yes, yes, yes. I remind you. I sorry, I forgot. I mean, how your name was written. So it's good to see you here. So we're all still here in Madrid. Yeah, great to have you here. Yes, with Yuri Kuchev, and it was the Russian guy. And okay, so what about the others? Are you new to the IMIM community?
Yes, I'm new. I'm attending for the first time.
Great, perfect. Welcome then.
So, thank
you. So for all of you who are new, well, with IMIM, which stands for International Master of Industrial Management, this is a multi-site program, okay, that is focused, of course, in business and managerial studies. It has been recognized also by the European Union as part of the Erasmus Mundus Masters, this label for educational excellence. And so basically what I mean by multi-site is that our students like Sharifa, for example, they get to study in different countries. The consortium has been changing. Right now, this is the second year that we have this university consortium. So our students study the first semester here in Madrid for the introduction to management courses. Then they go the second semester to the UK, to Scotland, with Hereward University and the Edinburgh Business School. And then we have different specializations. So students on the third semester, if they want to specialize on supply chain management, they go to Dubai. So we have Hereward University has a campus there. Also, if they want to specialize in engineering finance, they go to Politecnico di Torino in Italy. And if they want to understand about how to do business with China and Asia in general, they will go to Xi'an, which is the capital of China, with Northwestern Polytechnical University. And if they want to specialize either in data science or innovation, they will go to Mexico to the Monterrey Tech in any of their 3 campuses in Mexico City, Guadalajara, and Monterrey. So, and the final semester, actually, our students are everywhere in the world, because this is the time for the thesis or for doing an internship. so they can have a company-based or a university-based master thesis as long as they have a tutor from one of the universities. But we have had people in different countries working, so it's very flexible and very enriching program. We have people from everywhere. So you have here Sharifa from Malaysia, right? So usually we have people from Asia, from Europe, from Latin America, from over 25 countries in all the editions. We are now, I think this is edition 18, if I'm not mistaken, the one that is going to start now in the September intake. And usually our students, they will be hired, by in top industries and top employer. And this is one of the, some examples of the companies where our graduates also are working. Good, so this is just a brief introduction for all of you who are new about the IMIM community. We have now the admission process open, so if you're interested or you know somebody who maybe is interested to have this type of experience, you can let them know, okay, about the IMIM. We're gonna have an information session in 2 weeks. I will explain more of that at the end of this webinar. Okay, so that's it about this, let's say, brief IMIM introduction. So now it's time for, let's say, for our main masterclass. So today our keynote speaker is Professor Rocio Rodriguez Rivero. She's a doctor in industrial management by UPM, okay? But she also holds a bachelor in electrical engineering. She has been working in different international engineering projects, and currently she belongs to the project management unit in UPM. She's also a member of the project management and quality research group, and she coordinates the international development group production management activities there. So her main research interest is with management, okay, especially happening in multicultural environments like our IMIM community. And I mean, this is just a very brief introduction, but of course she will explain more of her background and trajectory in order to link it with her research. We're very happy to have you here, Rocio. Thank you very much for accepting the invitation. And the floor is all yours, okay?
Okay, thank you very much, Isaac.
So I'm gonna stop sharing this. So that
then I'm going to start sharing as, okay, let's see. I think that you are watching my screen.
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much for the confirmation. Okay, so thank you very much for being here. I think that this is the most valuable present for me at this moment. That is your time for listening about project management, because I think that all of us should deal with projects in any time of our professional life. So I think that in this uncertain moment is very, very interesting or very appropriate, this kind of topic. Here you have also my email, just in case at the end or maybe another day you want to consult anything about project management with me. During this brief session, I would like to follow this way of I start talking about a little bit my professional experience. Due to this professional experience dealing with engineering projects, how I realized about the challenge of project management, and also how I realized about how diversity could help to deal with this challenge. Of course, for success with this diversity, you must know I think that the most as possible about cultural differences and understand these cultural differences, and of course take into account the risk management as an ally during the project management. Regarding my professional experience, Professor Isaac Lemus presented me as an engineer, with a PhD in industrial management. I would like also to mention that I was working as an electric engineering during more or less 9-10 years in an energy company where I could deal with energy projects, indeed with combined cycle power plants. And then I realized that the complexity in the projects is not only in the technical part, but mainly in the human part. I'll talk about this in the following slides. Why I changed my post at the energy company to the academy? Well, I think that it would interesting to mention that during these years working at this company, I had the opportunity of work as cooperator in an NGO, and I have the luck of being involved in an international development project in Ecuador. And I think that this experience changed my mind a little bit, and then I jumped to the academy, where I started to work in the project management unit at the UPM, involving the most as possible in international development projects and in the risk that they face. And most of the risks were based on the cultural differences. For that, I focus my research in this kind of differences that could challenge the success of the project. Since I started at the university, I am member of the Project Management and Quality Research Group, as Isaac mentioned before, and also I coordinate the International Development Group, Production Management and Development projects. Regarding my experience in the energy company, here you can see in the left part layout of the turbine building of a power plant. This power plant was in Peloponnese in Greece, and I was working there during 3 years, more or less 3 years, because I want to highlight that this kind of projects, the combined cycle power plants, are very complex projects. And they are complex mainly because they are large, and they are large in the period for being done, but also in the budget. One of these power plant could be around 600 million euros, more or less. And of course, it comes with a lot of technical complexity. And this complexity is based on the multidisciplinarity of all the works that must be done in the construction of this plant. You have to work with civil engineers, with mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, of course, and also to deal with all the providers, because it's a kind of project with multiple stakeholders, and it could put in danger the development of the project, of course. When I was working in this project, I realized that in spite of the complexity of the design, it could be managed with standardization. And indeed, we work with a standard plan. We have a standard plan, and in this standard plan, we combine the multiple configuration that we could have. We must count with the basic element, like the gas turbine, the heating recovery steam generator, the HRSG, the steam turbine, and of course the generator. And there could be 2 gas turbine, 2 steam turbine, 1 generator, 1 axis, 2 axis. There are multiple configurations, but all of them could fix in a standard plant. So the technical problems could be success in the design. There are also different types of contracts for the development of the plant, and these contracts could be just engineering, or engineering and procurement and construction, or engineering, procurement and construction management, and also the turnkey contract, that is the most risky one, because in this turnkey contract, you deal with a client that you are going to develop all the construction, all the design and all the construction of the power plant in 4 years and 3 months, and you fix the end of the project with all the risk that could happen during the period, during these 4 years. So it's a little bit risky, this one. For that is the most expensive one. Also, I realized that in every project there are external factors that could put in danger the plan of the project, because we are working now in a global war, and the clients are for every part of the world. In this case, the project was with a Greece client, but I've been working as well with Chinese client and Argentinian clients, and I think that clients are spread all around the world, and we must deal with that and with all the cultural difference that it happens when you are working with people from different parts of your country. And for these 3 types of parts of the project, I realized that the more influential one was the external factors. And for that reason, I tried to go a little bit in depth in these external factors. And in this external factor, of course, we have the uncertainty that surround all the world at this moment. But I would like to start with the first idea of what a project is. Always when I try to go a little bit in deep in a concept, I try to think in the original version of the word. And this case, project is based on a Latin word, projectar, that means to launch. And what launch? You launch one idea. You launch one idea, and thanks to all the research around this idea, human research and economical research, you can develop a reality. You can go from an idea to a reality thanks to the resource. And in this case, the reality could be, for instance, the power plant that we have been talking about at the beginning. But could be another idea, of course. But we must know that the longer the project is, the higher will be the uncertainty that it must face. For that reason, I think that it's very, very different if we are talking about a project of 6 months, or we are talking a project, or we are talking for a project for 8 years. It's very different. And it's very different because we are living in a VUCA environment. That means in a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous environment. And it has been powered to the maximum potential right now with the COVID pandemic. But 2 years ago, the uncertain environment was here as well. And we have a Spanish philosopher called Daniel Innerarity that was the first one who talked about the uncertain society. And he talked about uncertain society because he thought that nowadays the marriage are not forever, the works are not for your whole professional life, and nothing lasts forever. Everything is changing in a very high speed. And this means a lot of uncertainty. And we must live with that. But how can we act for dealing with uncertainty? Well, we must start by planning a finish for our project. And we have think in a linear way from the start to the finish. But when we start working with the project, we realize that the reality is very different to the way that we have planned our projects. And what can we do? Well, we should keep calm and try to change our plans. And this sentence is not mine. Is I don't know if you know Dwight Eisenhower. He was president of the United States. More than president, he was also a soldier. And during his period of soldier, he worked with a lot of strategy and plans. And for that reason, he realized that the most important thing is to adapt the planification to all the uncertain events that could happen during this period. And how can we deal with that? I recommend that we should forget to the idea of control the project, of control all the period, all the milestones, and try to adapt the planification to the events, and try to adapt as soon as possible, and try to do the change at the beginning when you first realize that the plans are not going to work properly. And for that, it's very, very important the adaptability, because if we want to succeed in these uncertain times, we must be adaptable. And because the project is going to be full of challenge, uncertainty, expectation of the clients, of course, globalization, because most of the projects currently are international projects. But we must think also in the opportunities that this globalization could bring us, as the 2030 agenda with the Sustainable Development Goals that is full of opportunities for investment and research. Also the professionalism that is based on the high number of certification in project management that we are having nowadays. And of course, that means also advice in our work. And this is very important. And in these uncertain times, in these VUCA environments, diversity could help to increase our productivity, our efficiency. And diversity, we should think in diversity not only in a way of challenging the status quo of this white man powered. We should think as well as the opportunity to innovation because when we work with different points of view, we are improving the creativity, and we should be more innovative, and for that more effective. And we should think also in diversity if we want to achieve new clients. We are now in the 2021 year, and clients are nowadays millennials and Generation Z, and they are growing in a diverse society. So they expect that organization be also diverse. So if we want to reach more customers, we should think in a diverse organization. And this is not philanthropy, it's a strategy. I want to highlight this. And also that is not optional nowadays, it's necessary, because as I said before, if we want to reach more customers, more clients, we should be diverse. And at this point, I want to put the focus on the word adaptability. I talked before that adaptability, it needs at this moment. We need to be adaptable to the new events that are arising around our project. But also it's important to feel comfortable and accept it as we are, because it's not a part of the suffer of not being accepted, that is at least not ethical. Also, we were losing our strength of diversity if we force to these people to change their way of being. For that reason, adaptability is good, but just enough, just a little bit of adaptability. And diversity could be could have a lot of types, and here is the metaphor of the iceberg with the types of diversity that we can see with our eyes, that is the gender, the race, the age. But there are also the difference of diversity, that they are also important, that the personality, the education, their values, sexual orientation. So we must think that all of them must be taken into account. And Trompenaars, that is one of the current sociologists more well known, he said that it's important to take into account the outsiders' opinion, because they give us a point of objectivity. Because if we just work with people like us, then he called these people insiders, which will have only a subjectivity point of view. And only when we count as well with this objectivity point of view, we are focused in the reality. And this is very important, because only when we take into account the other's opinion, but these others are different to us, we are thinking in the real world. And this means also that organization should change the focus on the clients, on the customers, and should focus more in their team members, because only through these team members, through these people inside, you could achieve results outside with the customers or the clients. And there's a lot of studies right now regarding the efficiency of diversity, and they focus mainly in these three parts: the language diversity, innovation, and motivation. But depending on the glasses that you wear, you could think in these qualities of a diverse team as advantages or as limitation. And as you can see, language diversity could be seen as an opportunity for expand the markets all around the world, or as well as a limitation due to the barriers, the communication barriers that we have when we must talk with people from different countries and with different languages. It happened the same with innovation and motivation. Innovation could be seen as the opportunity to have new ideas, creativity, but also with some resistance to change for some members of the team. Motivation of productivity is also can be also seen as an advantage, because only joining diverse skills and working collaborative, you can achieve better results, or also could be seen as a conflict between the team members. And where will be the difference between advantage and limitation? Well, I think that here is very important the work of the project manager, because he will be the person who try to focus on the advantages or limitation. And in this kind of teams, in diverse teams, the impact of the project manager is very important, because he could push through diversity to the success of the project, to better results, or to the conflicts and barriers. So that's very important here, the competencies of the project manager dealing with diverse teams. In every team, Tuchman say that there's a cycle, and at the beginning, when the teams are forming, there's not too much effectiveness and a little bit of conflicts that can arise. The conflict can arise along the time, and at this point the effectiveness is very low. But once these conflicts are solved, and you normalize the relationship with your partners, and you learn the role that you must deal in the development of the project, then the performing is very high. This is the normal life cycle of a team, and this is very important to know in a diverse team, because the peaks used to be more critical in this kind of teams. But in spite of these differences, recent studies, this one is from the Harvard Business Review, say that people prefer to have a good workplace environment. He preferred to have a good workplace environment instead of having a better paid or a better position, and that's very important. Because we are realizing with this kind of studies that the workplace environment is very important, and the team is very important for the team members. And here I want to share with you some examples of multinational companies that really believes in diversity. For instance, Adidas, that is one of the most well-known sports brand, at least in Europe, has invested a lot to embrace diversity, and he wanted to go a work for work, and not only try to recruit more diverse people. They want to generate a welcoming environment. One of my colleagues, Ruth Carrasco, the Professor Ruth Carrasco, always say that it's very different to invite some people to a party and to dance with these people in the party. Well, dance with these people means this welcoming environment for diversity, and that's very important. Google as well has a program currently based on the bias that could be around the diversity, and that's also very important. Another company, Mastercard, multinational company, has a program for recruiting all their employees and try to have with them a reverse mentoring program for teaching these older employees how to manage social media. And that's important because as you can remember, age is another type of diversity, and in these multinational companies sometimes the age is not well valued between their employees. So this is a novelty program that I think that is good to mention. Lastly, I would like to share with you also the study that the Sodexo group has made, where they realized that when they work with balanced teams, gender balanced teams, they get better results. Indeed, they talk about 10% more of engagement the team members, and 17% more rentability of the results of their works. I'm going to talk a little bit now about cultural differences, that because cultural differences are also part of diverse teams. And when we deal with these international teams with cultural differences, we must think that all of us have our cultural glasses, and we can see the world from different ways. But the most important thing is if we can deal with these differences from the respect and the understanding. And there are here, I want to present here two cultural models. First one is the Hofstede model. The Hofstede is one of the most famous sociologists and well known in the project management area. And he designed this 6 dimension for measuring the cultural all around the world. I want to just mention what does mean every of these dimensions. For instance, power distance measure the way that the society tolerate the hierarchies in the society. Individualism or collectivism, if the society thinks in an individual way or as a group. Masculinity and femininity is based on the idea of cooperation or productivity. Uncertainty avoidance is the fear of risk. And the other dimension is long-term orientation versus short-term orientation, and indulgence, that is the way of expressing yourself, your feelings in public. If we think in this model, here I have an example based on the comparison between China and Spain, and I have chosen these two countries because it's very, I think that is they are very different cultures, and also because we are here in the IMIM program, and we count as with a partner Chinese, and also with a Spanish partner, and I think that is very interesting to talk about this comparison. As you can see, there are some dimensions with very, very high differences. For instance, we can see the uncertainty avoidance. I want to mention that Spain is one of the most risky intolerant or the most risky avoider, of the countries all around the world. Instead, China, they don't have so fear for entrepreneurship, for instance. There are another one high difference between long-term orientation. China is more long-term oriented than Spain, and it's very easy to think about this because the children in the primary years of the school, they just know what they want to be when they were adults, and it doesn't happen in Spain. And just to mention some of them, of course, in the dimension of individualism, China is a collectivism country, and for that reason, it has this low dimension of individualism. It could be based on the communism political way of being in this country. And I would like also to talk about this other model with based on 8 dimensions. These dimensions are from Meyer. They call the cultural maps of Erin Meyer. That is a professor from an American university, and they are more linked with the business dimension. And I think that all the dimensions could be self-explained because it's communication, evaluation, the way of giving the feedback that is disagreeing or persuading, leading. I'm going to talk a little bit about them, but with this map, this cultural map, or once again comparing China and Spain. And as you can see, also we can see differences between China and Spain. For instance, in the way of communicate, China use the high context, use the long message and very difficult to understand sometimes, and Spain is a little bit more direct in the message. It's not so direct like the Americans or the British, but it's more direct than China. There's also another, I think that very marked difference, that is in the evaluating or assessing is the way of giving feedback. And for instance, I work with Chinese people sometimes, and after a meeting, they prefer not give a feedback to you. They prefer just to think about this, and later they send you an email. And that is because they don't want a confrontation environment. They prefer just to think about this and later send the comments or the things that they prefer to be in other way, instead of having a direct evaluation, just to mention some of them. Also, we can see here another dimension, and as you can see in the disagreeing dimension, there's also a very high difference, and this is very related to the one that I mentioned before, that is that they prefer not to confront and to have a harmony between the colleagues or the partners that they are discussing. Just to finish, I would like to mention a little bit about how risk management could help us for dealing with uncertainty in the projects as an ally. And here is an example, also a Chinese example that we can see from the war crisis. Here is the war crisis and the two characters, and they means threat and opportunity. And a risk can be also seen as in a positive way of opportunity, and also in a negative way as a threat, because a risk is just an uncertain event that could have an impact in one of the objectives of the project. But this impact could also be positive, could also be an opportunity, but mainly we think in a risk in a negative way. And I want to share our mind about this, because only if we change our mind, we can be ready for facing new situation. And as Luis Pastor said before, lack only benefits to prepare minds. So I always say that we should be prepared for all the uncertain events that could arise during the project. Finally, I would like to take a look of the risk management process that the Project Management Institute defined. And it starts with the risk management plan, and it should end, but never ends, because it's a circular continual improvement all the time, and you must be monitoring all the risk during the whole project. But during this stage of the risk management process, we should think that diversity could help us to identify risk, because identifying risk is a brainstorming process where we can think in different categories: external, managerial, economical, safety, and we should be creative identifying risk. And for that reason, diversity teams could help in this task. And also they could help us in the thinking of the response to this risk, because it's also a creative process. So diversity matters always, but especially in these two stages of the risk management process. And that's all from my side. I think that I spent a lot of minutes, sorry for that, but we have time still for some questions if you have any. And before ending, I also would like to tell you that I included some recommended readings regarding all the topics that I've been talking about during this session. And just if you have some interest in reading or take a look of one of them. So thank you very much. And as I said before, it's time for your questions if you have.
Thank you very much, Rocio. Just to let know the audience, you can write down your question. There is a chat feature in Zoom. You can also unmute your microphone and ask directly your question to Professor.
Perfect.
So as you prefer.
That's okay, Isaac.
So while they are typing, I mean, I do have one question, if I may.
Yes, of course.
Because, I mean, I saw the link with my research that is related to innovation, right? So you were talking about it could be an opportunity or a threat. How, I mean, do you have any suggestion about how to make innovation, I mean, these new ideas that you were commenting, that are accepted better in an organization, not necessarily a project, maybe in a project, but it could be also a process or, you know, any other type of unit. So if you have any highlight there, I would appreciate if you can let us know, please.
Yes, I thank you very much for the question. I think that, of course, there's some links between diverse teams and innovation. And I think that there's a lot of research regarding this, but I would like just to mention that the most important thing is that different people from the insiders, that the entrepreneurs idea could help us to develop the things in a different way. And it could happen only if these people feel comfortable for telling to everyone their opinion and to talk with confidence. If this environment of confidence doesn't happen, it's very difficult. For that reason, I think that the most important thing is to try to have a good environment for people being confident, for saying their opinion, for saying their ideas, for sharing their different ways of doing the things. And I think that if we get that, we just should expect that innovations, innovative ideas, innovative process could arise.
Okay, so it's all about motivating, right? And make a safe mechanism for people to share this. And
yes, I think so.
We have a question now. I can read it for you, and I'm not sure if you can read it or just it's by Zahir. Can you please explain how the individual experience and exposure helps to shape diversity?
I think that based on my experience, in my professional experience previous to my experience my current experience at the academy, diversity, it was very difficult to find in engineering projects because with diverse teams, I mean diverse teams, and why? Because we work together as a team, people from the different company, but from the same company, but only talk a little bit with people from different companies, and then it's very difficult to create a culture of diversity. But I think that the way of integrate this diversity is directly to contract people from other countries. For instance, at some points of the project, at the end of the project, during the construction stage, we used to go to the country and to work in a technical office at the site, on site, and there it was a real international team. But if not, I think that is very difficult. Really, based on my experience, I think that it's very difficult to find a real diverse team, at least in the company that I was working for. I'm sure that there's a lot of multinational companies where you have the opportunity since the beginning of working in these diverse teams. I think that I don't know if you are one of the members of the IMIM program, because I think that this program is a very good opportunity to shape diversity and to work with people from all around the world. I don't know if I answered properly your question, sorry.
If you can please allow me to speak for 1 minute.
Yeah, sure.
Can you hear?
Yes, of course.
Thank you so much. You explained very well, and I understand your point of view, but my question is more related to experience versus exposure. For example, some people do have experience in managing their work, but they do not have an exposure. For example, exposure in a sense, I mean, like, for example, if I'm working in my country and the same way where the way it is supposed to be worked in my country, but I do not know how the other people are working, so it means I do not have the exposure of the other countries or the exposure of the other different environments. So that means I don't know if I will be able to fit in the project as a team member, or how it can help me in to be the part of that diverse team. So that's what actually I mean.
Yes. I think that the most important thing is to have training in cultural differences, and a training of how people works in this country and how people talk and communicate in this country. And I think that organizations should invest in this kind of training to people, as the samples that I mentioned during this presentation. Some companies are investing in programs for welcoming diversity, or for reduce the bias of the employees regarding diversity. And I think that a good starting point will be some trainers for talk about how to work in different countries.
All right, that's clear to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you to you, of course.
So, I mean, I was thinking, based on what Zahir explained and you explained, so it means that our cultures, maybe that's, I mean, that constrains somehow how open we are for diversity, or our previous experience, as you said, maybe the engineering field is a bit more, closed environment. For example, I come from business studies. We are very used, to combine with, I mean, nobody can solve the question because we're more generalists. So we're used to cooperate with other fields, or or you have to adapt, as you said. For example, in the case I'm from Mexico, Spain here, you're very direct for bad feedback. I cannot do that in Mexico because people will think I'm rude, I'm not being polite, and I'm overcritical. So I have to adapt. Here I have to be much more direct. So it's also, maybe my culture didn't allow me to, in the beginning I was feeling bad, right? Because I thought that when I got bad feedback, it was too emotional for me. And on the other hand, then here I think that people is expecting to tell them that, right? Like what I do not like, so that we can improve together. So I think what you suggest is very good. So maybe I know that I need training on cultural differences.
I think that is very important. And for instance, we should have this kind of trainers for our incoming students. And I think that is very interesting, but I think that is not so usual in organization. And I think that will be a very good idea to have these programs when people have maybe no work directly in a team, but just to have a call or a meeting with clients for different countries.
Yeah, that's right. I think this is one of the comments we get the most in IMIM. This international experience, of course, they might feel frustrated. Some things they might be bad, but people learn to tolerate them.
Yes. I think that this kind of program, international programs, are a very good opportunity to live directly this kind of international experience where you should adapt to other cultures, and it could be a good example, of course.
Yes. Sorry, Zahir, did you want to say something?
No, that's clear to me. Thank you.
Great. Do we guys have more questions for Professor Rodriguez?
Anyway, if you have more questions at some point, you can send me an email, and I will be very, very happy to answer to you.
Perfect. So we are arriving to the end of our webinar. Just you can write your question or mute your microphone. Do not worry. But in the meantime, I just have a couple of messages to you. So we are closing our IMIM series for this semester next Thursday, June 24. So we are going to have two professors from Politecnico di Torino in Italy. This university is also a partner for the IMIM program. And they're going to be talking about incubators, accelerators, and startup studios. So if you're interested in this topic, you can also attend. It's at the same time as today. It's 5 p.m. Madrid time or Central Eastern time, CET, as we also know it here. And then we're going to start our webinar series again in September when we're back in the next academic course. So actually, I will be talking about business model innovation in the service industries in September. And then we will have a professor from Edinburgh, Asilbek Nurgadeshov, talking about offshoring of innovation and R&D activities. R&D starts for research and development. And then we will have a professor from the Monterrey Tech in Mexico talking about power skills in engineering management. So you can start saving these dates, okay? We will let you know more about the exact dates. Usually we are doing this on Thursdays. So it's gonna be like every 3 weeks that we're gonna have these IMIM webinars. Also, if you want to watch this webinar or if you want to watch the previous ones, because we have had 6 that have been done before between March and now June. So you can look for the IMIM YouTube webinars. And here is also the address, the long address, but you can also search directly in YouTube and write IMIM webinars, and you should be able to find them. And there is a playlist, or you can find the videos like alone. As I said, if you are interested or you want to, or you know somebody who is interested in studying the IMIM, we're going to have an information session on June 30th, also around this time. If you are subscribed to our newsletter, you will also get this information. And as Professor Rocio was saying, thank you very much. So once again to her for this very interesting talk. and making us think about, diversity and of course, project management. And if you have any question, you have her contact details. Also, we can let you know about that. And you can also keep in touch with us at this email, the imim@industriales.upm.es. We're getting some thank you comments from Musila Yargina. And so thank you very much for being here, and keep in touch, okay?
Thank you very much, Isaac, and thank you for all of you, of course.
Great. So have a nice morning, evening, afternoon, night, wherever you are in the world. Thank you very much, guys. See you around.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.